Our two-parent households have been unstable. For over 400 years, our two-parent households have been unstable. What kind of impact do you think that's gonna have?
You don't want to answer the next question?
Yep.
That's good.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, and remember you're answering first. How has the absence of Black fathers impacted the Black community?
Yeah, wow. Go straight into that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's had a really significant impact, for real. Like, I think it's had such a bad impact that we as a culture have downgraded the importance of Black men just to lower the blow of not having them, like the reality of not having them. We're like, oh no, it's like, we're not that bad. Almost like, we're fine, we're resilient, we're tough.
Yeah, somebody just today was like, they are just fine. And I'm like, and she talked about success, and I was like, just fine isn't determined by your accomplishments. Like, just fine needs to be assessed through the psychosocial development of the child and how that absence impacted them. Because we are not fine.
So it's like a whole piece of culture, like within our culture, because strong Black men in our culture, man, they have done great things and have allowed other generations to be influenced, and that's what creates more Black men and stronger communities. But now it's like we've accepted it because, you know, systemically they've been taken out of our lives, like whether it's been from drug war stuff, or it's like lynching, slavery. Like, up until this point, Black men have just like been pretty much assaulted and incarcerated and denigrated. All these things have just happened to Black men. So it's like, it's created unstable family structures when it comes to two-parent dynamics.
So let me just repeat. Since the dawn of our existence in this country,
it's been fucked up. It's been fucked up.
Our two-parent households have been unstable. For over 400 years, our two-parent households have been unstable. What kind of fucking impact do you think that's gonna have? Sure, we survived. Sure.
Right. That's the problem. You keep thinking about it like, all right, we survived. That's
versus thriving.
Exactly. Like, we're not thriving.
And again, don't assess thriving by your success, by your accomplishments, by your businesses, by your degrees. Assess it by the actual social connections. Assess it by the psychology. Like, one, abandonment trauma is real, okay? Whether it was their choice or not to go. And that's just one of the psychological impacts.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say overall it's had a negative impact in a couple ways. So I can't go over all of them because it's just too many to count. But ones that come to mind are, one, the social impact of the Black family and the Black community. So us being able to relate to one another and feel safe amongst one another. So like, the Black men in the community aren't necessarily the ones who are community leaders. So let's say you and I like have a child, which is gonna happen soon, right? But then something happens, which is not gonna happen soon. See, you can manifest either way. But then I'm taken out of the home. So our child, you and our child, are still left in the community. And then there's still dudes out here, right? But these dudes aren't people who are looking out for your child. They're looking maybe at you like, ooh, look, baby mom looking kind of nice. You know what I mean? So like, they're doing that. So what's left in the community are people who are only like leeches on the community because they have no investment community-wide.
Yes, and you know what that reminds me of? The men that they took from Africa were the warriors, were the leaders, you know? So the people who were left, and that's why Africa has some problems as well. It's also interesting because the warriors ended up here.
Well, they took it, it's basically like, because some of the slaves were like from other tribes, and those tribes were like, the strongest warriors. They were like, it's almost like kind of what we did to people in Guantanamo Bay. We were just like, oh yeah, that guy's a terrorist, and it was just really like some leader that we didn't like in some other country, and so then when we got rid of some leader we didn't like, and then instability everywhere, Who knew?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what that reminded me of. But that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, just socially, us being able to interact with each other and trust each other. Now we can't trust each other because like our communities are thrown off, and there's no investment. There's very rarely a black man who wants to invest in another black woman with a child without an alternative motive of, having sex, sliding in, taking advantage, you know what I mean, getting what he wants, without necessarily being burdened down with financial responsibilities or anything else like that, because that would seem like he's losing in that scenario. He's helping out the community. Like, that's a mom and child who are now taken care of until the father is able to return from prison or whatever else might be. But like, for the dude who's just like, why would I do that? Like, he's just chilling. He's just doing.
And that's not psychologically or emotionally helpful. Just because you're financially providing.
That's the other thing. Like, you have to. It's a lot to ask for another guy to do that. And so a lot of men don't pick up that slack. They're trying to do their own thing. And for some understandable reasons. Like, I don't necessarily want to be taking care of someone else's child. But this is the reality of what we live with. So that's that. Socially, there's that. And then the other one I'll state is like for educational reasons. Kind of like what you were talking about with the teachers. Just hearing education being broke down logically from a male perspective changes the way we see things. Even when you were talking about like our dynamic and related to that last episode, hearing from the man's perspective changed the way that you interacted with our relationship. Because you heard it from men, though. Yes. And it came from a different point of view. Yes. And that's crucial, because seeing things from that masculine perspective and then being able to mirror it and match it with that feminine perspective leads you to the totality of that vision, so that you're able to see from all angles. But if you can only have one, the feminine perspective, and that's all you're surrounded by, and even if there is some masculine person, like, let's say the example, some random dude comes in, tries to slide in, he might not be invested enough in the child to actually significantly teach them what they need to know from that masculine perspective. He might be just doing it temporarily to get what he wants out of the situation. So that's true. That's where we're at, man. That's it. So those are just two I'll mention for now. I don't want to, like I said, this is one of those things where I don't want to go too crazy. Like this might go wild.
Well, please let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, for real. For real. This is a deep topic. Yeah, this is a deep one.
All right, so I'm gonna just repeat the question: how has the absence of black fathers impacted the black community? Hey, it's the Real Family. It's your girl Rocqi.
And your boy Oso.
And thanks for being here. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell.
Right, because subscribing and hitting that notification bell does two very important things. One, it gives you notification on our new content and make sure that you're up to date on everything that we put out every week.
Every week.
Every week.
Every week.
And then number two, it helps your boy and your girl out with some money, you know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it honest.
It's so real, baby.
But in all seriousness, this is just like the video portion, the YouTube portion of our content. We are It's So Real podcast. So we have all these episodes just waiting for y'all on how many platforms?
11 different streaming platforms.
11.
So it's up to you to choose.
Yeah, there's no excuses. We on everything. So whatever platform you're most comfortable listening to stuff, your content on, we're right there for you. So look us up. It's So Real Podcast.
And our link tree is available on our YouTube channel. Go over there, find the platform that works best for you, subscribe to our podcast, and hear the full thing, because we have a lot more to say than what shows up on our YouTube channel.
Exactly. that being said, check out the rest of our videos while you're here.
You know? Be sure to subscribe.
All right, y'all. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
And love.
Always.